What's up guys? So today I wanted to talk about my experiences, my opinions, and the things I've learned about the practice of yoga during my time as a yoga instructor. Before I get into anything, I do want to say that there's a disclaimer, warning, there's going to be some unpopular opinion in this video, but I try to back my opinion by facts and supported evidence. So today we're going to look at what I call the good, bad, and ugly of yoga. Good will obviously be the great qualities and benefits that people can expect and receive from the practice of yoga. Bad will be some of the negatively connotated things about the practice and things that may be overlooked by most practitioners today. And then the ugly kind of falls into both categories. It's got qualities of good, it's got qualities of bad, and then it's kind of just gets muddled somewhere along the lines in between. So first, let's start with the good. Now, as we know here in the West, we look at yoga as that movement-based system with all of those flowing poses. So with that in mind, yes, we do create neuromuscular efficiency, motor coordination, and stabilization. Alongside these great poses and all the stretch work, yoga itself, especially in the systematized Yoga Sutras by Patanjali, we have most of it being meditation. So alongside with meditation comes a great sense of mental clarity, mental focus, and it reduces stress, anxiety, depression, and any other slew of mental disorders. So these two combined effects, the mental clarity and mental focus with meditation and the movement-based neuromuscular control, we have a better sense of well-being. Alongside with the system of yoga, we have what we call the restraints and observances, philosophical concepts that help guide us and lead us to a better life and make us more harmonious with the things and people around us. Another wonderful benefit that I find to yoga is that it focuses on breathing, especially focusing on breathing when it's engaged with movement. Most of us today in the Western world and any parts of different countries where they're very westernized, we have a very improper pattern of breathing. We have what we call paradoxical breathing. We breathe into the chest. Breathing into the chest can cause lots of stress, anxiety, depression, and other mental, physiological, and psychological disorders. So yoga and its many different forms of breathing exercises typically focus us to be more diaphragmatically driven, which breeds calm and relaxation in the body. I will say a disclaimer is that you definitely want to find someone who's very qualified in breathing techniques and what we call pranayama to learn more about this. Given the facts that it is a movement-based system, and given the facts that it is mentally and mind-body based, we can definitely say that this gives a good workout. Now I know some people might not believe this, but if we look at different types of workouts and the components of them, we can see that yoga can provide some of the benefits of some of the workouts we see normally. That being, it's a great body weight exercise. There's many poses in which we utilize our body weight to engage our muscular system and actually strengthen our muscles. Now, yoga may not be a great cardio workout as some may want to believe. You may only end up getting into the fat burn zone and no higher, but it's not to discredit it from being a decent workout. Alongside it being a workout is that it's also an avenue of recovery for many people. Physical therapists and doctors do recommend oftentimes yoga in the help of recovery in injuries or post-surgery. So let's look at some of the bad things. And I'd say one of the bad things first and foremost is the cost associated with yoga. Now, it's not to bash any of the yoga studios out there, but many of the yoga studios do charge pretty much an arm and a leg for just yoga classes. Depending on your geographical region and where you live in the world, you may expect to spend somewhere between $70 to $90 or even more dollars a month for just yoga classes at a yoga studio. It would be my opinion to go find a gym that offers yoga classes, as well as you'll have full access to the gym and all the equipment to have a better wellness plan. Another negative component I'll point out is the lack of regulation behind yoga. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not always for strict regulations, but regulations do help the safety of the public. And with that said, anybody could open up a yoga studio. Any person could be a yoga instructor without going through any training or certification processes. Even on the side that someone does go through the yoga certification training process, it usually has very minimalistic teachings on anatomy, physiology, and kinesiology. So even though you may have a certified yoga instructor, they may not know enough about the body to impart their teaching safely. Now, it's not to say that every single yoga teacher out there doesn't have great understanding of the body and how to move the body, but my warning is don't look at your yoga instructor as a guru to understanding your unique pathologies and your unique body type. Alongside your body type, another negative component I look at is the fact that some people believe there's an ideal standard to a pose. In many of the yoga certification courses, we look at ideal standards of a pose. We always talk about perfect and proper alignments. Well, I would argue that your posture and your alignment is perfect to the individual that you are and is intrinsic to your body type. No single person is going to be designed the same. Many people see what I like to call these pretzel poses or sideshow contortionist poses and think I need to get there, even though it may be impossible for your body type and bone structure and other structures present in your body. Sure, these poses look cool on paper and look great on Instagram, but they're not necessarily always practical when you can get an efficient stretch from something easier and more simple. One of my biggest gripes with yoga is some of the inverted poses. Now, we will talk about headstand, but the one I'm looking at that just belongs directly in the bad category, in my opinion, again, told you this is just my opinion, but it's backed with some fact, is the shoulder stand, Sarvangasana. There is no reason why you should balance your body on your shoulder girdle and put your neck in such a compromised position to receive the benefits of being inverted. Yes, there are many benefits to being inverted, but I think that shoulder stand just provides way too much risk to reward for those benefits. Problems with shoulder stand can lead to neck problems, neck disfigurement, or even in worse cases have led to death. It would be my advice to just go spend about $100 and buy an inversion table to get the benefits of being inverted, or try aerial yoga. So let's look at some of the ugly things. Things, like we said, not necessarily bad, not necessarily good, qualities of both. First, let's look at the history of yoga. As we said, yoga itself is based upon meditation. You really don't see much about these postures and poses as we look at so heavily in the West. Yoga dates back all the way to the ancient Veda texts and is designed to be meditation. If you look at the history of the yogis and what they do and what they have become in India, it would, in my opinion, be very closely related to the gypsies. They use these great meditational practices, meditational skills, and mind-body control to essentially shock and awe the public. For lack of a better analogy, they simply turn tricks of the trade for profit. Now, not to say every single person is out there making profit off of these outlandishly supernatural, almost superhuman feats of strength, but there are people out there just doing crazy things such as holding their hands to the sky while their limbs become necrotic and decay. Aside from some of those negative yogis out there doing crazy stuff, there are many great yogis who have come to the United States or even still stay in India that have advanced the practice tremendously and have pushed boundaries of meditation and consciousness even further. Of course, there are some of these yogis that have come over from the United States and still are in India that have abused the practice of yoga and taken advantage of people. We're not going to name names, but you can look up some of the people that have disrespected the trust of their practitioners and their practice. So the last thing in the ugly category is going to be the headstand. Headstand is a great pose if done correctly. By doing it correctly, that means we're balancing the weight on the arms and shoulders, not the neck. If we balance our body on our necks, well, our neck isn't designed to hold the weight of our body. And that's where we can come into problems of neck disfigurement, neck damage, and even in worst cases, death. I do feel that there are many claims out there to the benefits of headstand that some are backed by supporting facts and some that are just unsubstantially claimed. The first benefit most people might see is that it breeds about mental clarity, mental focus, and that mind-body connect, which absolutely, if you are putting yourself in such a risque posture for the body, then of course you have to have great mental awareness and focus on the body to make sure you're doing this correctly. I would argue that you could do weightlifting and achieve one of the same or similar effects. One of the claims that's not true about being inverted in headstand is that it improves blood circulation to the head. That's actually disproven. Because of the fact that we're inverted and blood isn't exiting the head as fast, less blood flow comes to the brain, and we're actually just pooling blood there, which then increases pressure behind the eyes and around the head. Being that we're inverted and that we're actually applying weight into the ground, we don't have that decompression effect of the spine that you would get from an inversion table. So while, like we said, that headstand is relatively safe for most people, if you do have spinal deformities, it could exaggerate that. Another claim about the headstand is that the inverted effect calms and relaxes. Well, yes, it does. It actually will decrease blood pressure in the heart rate, and it allows the venous return flow of blood from the extremities that may pool up to return back to the heart. Some of the claims is that this blood then washes over the adrenal glands and other organs and calms and relaxes and nourishes them. Well, blood only flows in the way that it's meant to flow. Arteries take blood away from the heart and veins take it back to the heart. Organs and glands have their own portal systems in which blood is delivered to them. So this blood flowing back down through the body is not necessarily trickling back to these organs, let alone this deoxygenated blood to revive and relax these organs. It just doesn't even make sense. And then the last claim is that headstand provides calm and relaxation. Absolutely. Like we said, being inverted does promote calm and relaxation. But if that's your goal, then there's plenty of other ways you can do it with many other poses and other things that aren't even associated with yoga to do so. Well guys, those are just a few of the topics that I wanted to throw out there. Some of the experience, some of the understanding, and some of the things I've observed in the practice through my years as a yoga instructor. I hope you did like the video. I hope that if you're a practitioner or you're a teacher, this has changed your practice, changed your view of the practice for the better. Feel free to give it a thumbs up and leave a comment. A non-hateful comment, please, because that would be very un-yoga-like. Anyways, guys, I'll catch you in the next video. Have a great day.